So hello everyone, I am Kimberly Giz, certified career coach, image consultant, peer support, community advocate. I am also an award-winning two-time best-selling author. I'm the CEO and founder of New Vision Foundation for Life, as well as the Show Up Queen Entrepreneur Academy. And I am the co-owner of New Vision Televisions and JHD Production. And I am here at Zoiles Equia in Durham, North Carolina, downtown Durham, North Carolina. And this is part of season 3 of The Woman I Am Today. We are filming the Walk a Mile in My Shoes docuseries, and I have some amazing women here with me that are going to introduce themselves and tell you a little bit about the woman they are today. Okay, so hello everyone, I am Kimberly Giz, and this is part of season 3 of The Woman I Am Today. We are filming the Walk a Mile in My Shoes docuseries, and I have some amazing women here with me that are going to introduce themselves and tell you a little bit about the woman they are today, give you a little bit of insight about their journey, and that's pretty much it. We're going to jump right in. Like I said, I am Kimberly. I'm the CEO and founder of New Vision Foundation for Life, as well as the Show Up Queen Entrepreneur Academy. And I am the co-owner of New Vision Televisions and JHD Production. I am a career coach, certified career coach, image consultant, peer support, community advocate. I am also an award-winning two-time best-selling author. And I am here at Equia, Zoiles Equia in Durham, North Carolina, downtown Durham, North Carolina. It is Women's History Month. We are here to celebrate. This is very special for me because my aunt gained her wings last year in March. And I wanted to celebrate women's history. My grandmother passed last year as well. Her birthday was March the 1st. So this is very, very special, and it's very intentional because I wanted to not only celebrate the powerful women that I have in my life that have loved and supported me. I want to celebrate myself and the courage and the confidence and consistency that it took for me to push past my pain last year, because it was very, very hard. And each of the women that are sitting here with me today has been very vital to that healing process. And so, because I'm a Kimberly, and I have another Kimberly sitting next to me, we're going to start with her.
Yes, I am Kimberly Dixon. My business is Joyful Living with Kimberly Dixon. Well, I started that business in 2014. I'm a certified life coach, a certified Christian coach, 5-time author and speaker. In 2020, with the pandemic, I lost that speaking business. So this is kind of my coming out party. I have taken a back seat. I published my memoir, Can These Bones Live Again, in 2018, but what I've realized in the last few years, this was the beginning of the story, but there is never a period in our lives as long as we're still living. So over the last couple of years, I've experienced an extreme amount of grief, the loss of my dad, the loss of a foster child that I was planning to adopt, just this tremendous amount of loss that I kind of got stuck in the grief and didn't know how to come back out into the world. And it wasn't until your event when I saw Elton, and he said, "Let me take a picture with you because no one is going to believe I saw you." And I was like, wow, have you been gone that long? So I'm Kimberly. Again, I'm Joyful Living with Kimberly Dixon. I'm an avid gardener. I teach people about gardening and sustainability and how it relates to life and how it relates to God. So I do a little bit of a lot of different things, but I'm happy to be here because I'm back out.
Amen.
Lori.
Oh, am I looking at it this way? So I am Lori Jones. I am honored to be here with you, Kimberly, today, as well as you phenomenal ladies. I am CEO and founder of Blackology Coffee Company. We are currently in a rebrand, so stay tuned for some updates coming out about Blackology. In addition to that, I'm also a certified chef and culinary apprentice program manager for the Interfaith Food Shuttle. I also have a passion for creativity, but also farming in a sense, urban gardening, farming in a sense. So this new chapter that I've entered into with also coming back out into the world is along the lines of taking the passion for coffee, still talking about brewing confidence, but integrating it into the culinary world and shining a light on regenerative farming and urban gardening so that people can create a self-sustaining model in their lives starting now and being able to pass it on down to generations. So. But yeah, it feels good to be back out, and I look forward to all the blessings that are to come.
Adia.
Hello, I am Adia Dozier. I am minister, author. Quick question. Do I need to start over? Good afternoon. I am Adia Dozier, minister, author, relationship coach. I am a woman that just wants to teach other women, empower them, teach them how to find their strength, find their best relationships, find their best selves. I think we are trained as women to shuffle through life and dance for others, and we never really come into the fullness, the full authority, the full authentic version of who we're supposed to be. I realize that sometimes you don't know the ingredients that's in a thing until you break it apart, until you taste it, until you can taste all of the cinnamon and the nutmeg, and then you know what you're made of. And so it wasn't until this, I thought I was bad, but Lord, and when some adversity came, and you're standing there at the side of the grave site, and the Holy Spirit said to me, this will not kill you. And I didn't have a map to how I was going to get from point A to point B. I didn't know what I was going to look like when I came out of it. I prided myself in being this excellent wife. Now that wasn't my title anymore, and so when life gives you a new deck of cards and you don't really know what it is that you're supposed to be now, I fought my way to the other side, and God sustained me, and He kept me, and He gave me a new husband, Lord Jesus, a new husband that I worship the ground and walk on, and just finding myself again, and then in my process of finding myself, I realized that I was holding back, and that this husband should not have to pay for the issues of the first husband, and he shouldn't have to pay for me not healing from the tragedy. And so I started looking for books that would speak to my heart and encourage me and prepare me for another relationship, and I couldn't find one. And so I decided to write it. So I wrote Called to Be a Wife, devotional, and it is a textbook and a relationship manual to help us to overcome the things that are attempting to hinder our heart and to harden our hearts. And my pain birthed Perfecting Her Craft Ministries, Perfecting Her Craft LLC, which is where I will be writing my blogs, my next books, soon to be podcast, whatever. In the last week, I've decided we will launch Perfecting Her Craft magazine, and just any tool that would help other women either where I was, or maybe they're happy. Maybe they're happy and they just need to reach more. So.
Well, my name is Sarah Wilder. Sitting at a table of women who, before this year, would never have met because I had to go through my own suffering, my own loss, but I am a clinical social worker and clinical addiction specialist by trade. But a lot of that really means in life, I help providers build a lifestyle of recovery and sustainable change, understanding themselves from a biological and emotional level, so building emotional intelligence, understanding how to navigate the treacherous life of hormonal cycles, neuroscience. I'm a total nerd at heart. But then also trying to use my story as, how I applied that information to myself, and went from a very, I've always been a tall, large woman, but I wasn't ever comfortable with that, and learning how to find my own balance with it. So I was at, my highest weight was about 400 pounds, about 6 years ago, and I knew, I was working with a lot of substance abusers and addicts, and or people struggling with addiction. Excuse me, I don't like to really label anyone that, and I realized I had my own issue, which was with food. And given that I don't plan on living my life not eating food, let alone not having food that I want, I realized I had to have a highly big transformation on how I understood how to nourish myself and love myself. And so I use that story as a symbol of hope for people to understand they can find their own right perspective, which is the name of my brand. And it's really about how to understand what your body needs and what you want for your life, and doing the inner work. And it's not necessarily just about it's more of like, I love duplicity. So it's like a little FU to the system of like, yeah, it's about size, because you have to be okay with whatever you look like, regardless of whether that be you're a little overweight because you've been through something stressful, or you have to navigate, gaining weight, because not everyone likes to overeat when they're sad.
Plain cream or French vanilla? Plain.
So, yeah, that's my story. Right Size Perspective is my coaching and therapeutic life consulting is what I call it, because I'm like, I've got licenses. So as a life coach, I do life coaching, but I'm also a licensed trained trauma-informed specialist. So my happy balance is therapeutic life consultant.
Oh, so thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Adia. Thank you, Lori. Thank you, Kimberly. I love these women in real life. Like, they have been a very, very vital part of my healing process. And I love y'all.
We love you too.
And I feel like
Pace yourself.
Breathe.
I feel like actually showing up and being here today, I feel like my grandmother and my aunt and my dad, I feel like they're smiling. What is going on with my eyes?
They're speaking.
Yes, Lord.
My aunt is always like, oh, my eyes are sweating. So, yeah. It's, I a lot of people know about my business, you know, my organization and stuff that I do in the community, but I hardly ever talk about my own mental health issues or diagnoses or challenges. I don't talk about my invisible disabilities. I was diagnosed with 3 autoimmune diagnoses, which it affects my life daily, and I don't look like what I've been through. The pain that I feel, it doesn't show on my face. It doesn't show to the public. You can't see it just by looking at me. And she's taking pictures.
Ain't lying. Look, I was.
It's beautiful, but I ain't gonna eat it.
Like it's a deal.
It's so good. And like having time like this. If you want to cut me a corner, I'll take another piece. And Lori, I'm gonna need you not to laugh at me that hard, because I had some of your food and John food.
I ate both of y'all. And mine. Yes.
I'd imagine so.
Yes.
I'm gonna eat mine just because I'm into gardening.
So yeah, spending time with powerful women that understand me, that I can relate to, that can relate to me. It's important, because not having my aunt here, not being able to just go around the corner, you know, I'm having to be more intentional about relationship with women. And
You only come talk to me when chicken is involved.
well, you went and had chicken, and then you
I
didn't
told
even
you
let
I
me
go-
know that you was having
I told you
chicken.
I
So
go to Alpaca
my
once a
husband
week.
John went and got me some chicken from the one over here by the house. So I had chicken by myself, because he
Thank
ate
God for
his.
John.
He ate his with his friend and his meeting, and you ate yours with your other friend. So I had alpaca chicken by myself. Yes, it was good, and I enjoyed it.
Look,
I'm glad.
the old IHOP on Hillsborough Street has now just changed into a alpaca downtown Raleigh.
On Hillsborough.
On Hillsborough, right by the YMCA.
I love that.
Well, we can meet at the one at 15501.
That'll work. I ain't realize I was close.
I come to see y'all.
I ain't
go to
realize I was close to
Raleigh and
Durham.
in different places, and I go all the way to Bride Creek for this one right here. You know, I'm just
I don't
saying.
know why I thought Durham was further away from Wake Forest. They right beside each other.
Yeah, 98. That's the only thing separating us.
So
You were supposed to call me. I'm
I
sorry.
was.
Go ahead.
alpaca.
I got
Are we doing alpaca next month? Can we do alpaca for April?
We can do alpaca in April.
I gotta fix. We're gonna have to do a weekend because now I got a job.
Oh, you have a job? Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna ask y'all a question.
Okay.
Let me ask you a question. What do you do for your mental health and self-care? Well, what do you do?
Wow, that's a big question. Over the past year, for my mental health, well, first and foremost is my relationship with God. It's like I always cry out to God. But in the midst of my grief, I realized I needed an actual therapist. I needed a life coach. And I needed some medication. That's what, all of those things combined, of course, coupled with my great friendships, my family, but I needed all of those things because I did not feel like me. I could sit and have a conversation with a person and still be like, I don't even know who I am or what I'm saying. I didn't feel like me. I don't know, there was this huge disconnect that I can't even really verbalize. I can't put it into words, but I didn't feel like me anymore. It was like, but with all the things that I experienced, and along with all of the loss that I said, was also a big financial loss. So I found myself in this place where there was all this darkness around me that I felt, but through speaking with my counselor, through having a life coach. Now, this is a God ordained life coach. I met this woman years ago in South Carolina when I showed up at one of her retreats. But she just called me one day. She was like, I woke up this morning and I saw your face. And we specifically planned a trip to South Carolina so she and I could do some face-to-face coaching. But it took all of those things. And I don't want to ever discount anybody's journey on the amount of time that it takes, what it takes, or any of those things, because it is a process that has many different levels to it. I'm not seeing the therapist anymore, and I'm not using the medication anymore. But I'm still working. I'm still a work in process. I'm still seeking God constantly, and I'm taking the steps that I need to get back to being me. Because I introduced my business as a Joyful Living Life Coach, and there are people who don't even know my real name. They call me Joyful Kim. But for a second there, I was like, God, how can I be the Joyful Living Life Coach, and I don't have that joy? But what I've realized and what I taught previously is that joy is always a part of who I am. It's just it got covered up with all the minutiae of life. And now that joy is starting to shine through again, but I'm still uncovering it because I'm still working my process. I'm still doing what I need to do to get back to being who I am, who I know to be at my core. So it took all of that and still takes some of it. But we have to give ourselves permission to use the tools that we have available. But sometimes there's shame, guilt, even sometimes our family. Like you don't need no medication, you don't need no therapist, you don't need this or that. I even had people, when I poured my heart out to them, their response was, "But you're the Joyful Living Life Coach," and that just made me shut down. Because like now you're telling me I don't have a voice, I can't talk. It's like happiness is a fleeting, it's an emotion. It comes and goes. But the joy, that's on the inside of us. But it can get dim sometimes, and we have to seek it. So through God, through my relationships, I'm seeking it because that's who I am. That's who I know I want to be. And that's when I feel that, like I'm feeling it now. I'm feeling the speaker coming back right as we speak. Something lights up on the inside of me. That is what I've been missing. And I was like, this reminds me of a spoken word piece. I ain't gonna recite the whole thing, but part of it says, darkness is simply the absence of light, and that light is already in me. I had to remember the light was in me. And I promise I'm not getting ready to do an ugly cry.
Yeah, don't keep messing with Kim. She gonna have you balled over this whole table.
I always want to piggyback off that. I have to leave, ladies, soon. But to answer your question, because something you said is, I've been on my own journey intentionally for like the last 6 years, and it looked very different at the beginning than it does now. And part of that is with faith, honestly. Like, my profession keeps me in a very neutral place for other people, and then ultimately that kept me in a very neutral space, to try to be unbiased, to help guide people to see, their perspective and figure out what their light is and clean that up for them. That it wasn't until this last season and, walking away from something very, very cherished, like a cherished being and situation for me, that is what I needed to be able to identify with my higher power. And so we're going on 3 weeks ago now, where I committed to God through the Baha'i faith. I tried Christianity out, I tried the traditional systems, and it just wasn't, if I hadn't been learned to listen to myself and learned to figure out what my intuition and what my emotion told me, I would never have been able to make that decision specifically for me. Because that as self-care, there's so many different areas of what self-care is, and once we can open up these conversations about what mental health actually is, we'll get away from presentation of mental health and yeah, I take care of myself on the outside, but doing the spiritual work, doing the physical work, doing the emotional work, doing the faith work, all of that looks different for everyone. And then yeah, for me, I never realized how much I needed to not, I called it, I was dating the faith for like 2 years because I was studying with my mentor and I was present, but I'm like, why hadn't I committed? Why had I not just been like, yeah, God exists, I am through me, by making the commitment to myself that I will always have my own back. I will always know when to listen to me and when to listen to others and find a balance between all of that. Perspective is still my fundamental value, my favorite word, my favorite concept, and it includes other people. You have to hear other people in order to figure out your perspective. But it's hard work to figure out in your head, like, oh no, that is someone else's perception of me, not necessarily, but there is a truth to someone's perception of you, but it doesn't have to be your whole truth. And it wasn't until I knew how to go inward, protect my space mentally and emotionally before I figured out, like, okay, I needed that truth that hurts. So, but it's not who I am. Just one mistake doesn't define my whole identity. It doesn't define that. So that's self-care to me, more in the updated sense is like I have to figure out my own limits, my own perspective, and then do things that are gonna challenge that limit to see. Like I was saying, like, I stepped out into a role that I never considered my personality to be. And I'm just gonna see what happens. And I felt the most joy yesterday, it was just yesterday, that could be felt through a text message, through when I was telling one of my friends, and they're like, it's like, I can seriously just sense your happiness. And I was like, yeah, like, because I did something for me that no one can really take away from me, and I accomplished it. And so that's self-care.
So it's funny you mentioned that. So on TikTok, one thing that I do with inspirational stuff for other people is have them write down a list of things that everybody else has said that you are, put on you, right? Family, employers, friends, whatever. And then sit down and take that time and go through and start crossing off everything that you know personally has nothing to do with you. Has nothing to do with you. And by watching yourself cross it off the list, mentally it releases something off of you, because it's not your responsibility to be what other people think you should be. Yep.
That's a great advice. Borrow that one.
That reminds me, recently, one of my family members was talking to me about a situation that was going on with someone else's feelings towards me, and she asked me, have you called her? And I was like, no, and I'm not going to, because what she thinks and what she does is none of my business. I don't have anything to do with it. I'm gonna let her reconcile that.
I got here, I got one to give you. That'll get everybody okay.
So one thing that I did during my self-care, you mentioned medicine, and I was on Xanax for 3 months of my life. I had a strategic prayer room. I could not pray. If you are so emotionally unstable, if you are in such despair, when my first husband was shot and killed, if I thought that emotionally and spiritually I was dying, if the despair that I felt manifested itself physically, and I could not see myself living again, the only thing I can tell you is, if you can't get a prayer through, prayer is only good if you believe the words that are coming out of your mouth, and that you have faith to pass it through your lips and to God's ears. I was so distraught that we had to make a call to the doctor. If I was going to get myself back together, I was going to have to take some medicine. And so I used Xanax for about 3 months of my life. I was out of work for about a month. It was a brand new job, and I had to learn how to live again. But I could only learn to live. Like I said, I had been married for 13 years. I had never slept in this bed without my husband. I had never, I was taking pills to sleep, pills to stay awake. If you're going to strategically live and choose life and you aren't emotionally sound, then me talking to somebody wasn't even going to help. I needed some medication.
A lot of it can make it worse sometimes too if you don't know
What to say,
what to say, but then also chemically, biochemically rehash
yes,
experiences through talk therapy. You have to be mindful
be ready.
and be ready for that. Yeah.
So there was a whole season of, I had to prune my life. I divided my life into adders, subtractors, multipliers, and dividers. And if you didn't add to my life, if you didn't, every time we met, I felt a little stronger, or at least I could share with you and I felt a little more of a release. If you weren't a multiplier, that when I connected to you, the words that you poured into me multiplied my situation steps. I did leaps and bounds when I'm around you, but the subtractors and the dividers, every time I get around you, I feel a little less strong. I feel a little more weak. The same way that people multiply your life, when I connect with you, I have just dropped down the ring on the ladder, several rings. It's time for, I was so distraught that I couldn't cover myself. So I had to have people around me, the select few, that I could be naked in front of. Because this raw Adia that you see, that's all I could do at the time. I wasn't strong enough to cover myself or to put on makeup or to look pretty. You had to be able to see me in all of my rawness. And I'm grateful for those people, because I call them my pallbearers. They carried me while I was dead back to life. They made decisions for me that I couldn't make for myself. And I believe when you're going through, I believe there's a different chemistry of things that you need when you're going through and you need self-care, and then there's a different chemistry of things just for maintenance. So I take care of the outside, but I'm a prayer warrior, but I don't know how many people know this, I'm an avid gamer.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah.
What we playing? What you play?
Dying Light. I'm a Halo head.
Okay. Okay.
So, some of my I'm killing zombies. Some of my self-care is called vegging out. So when I get home and I've had a rough week, I write the software at Wake Med Hospital. And so when I get home and I've had a very technical and rough week, I load them up and I go kill zombies. And I find it my therapeutic. I don't drink a lot. I may drink a glass of wine or something, but for me, I think everybody needs to find something that allows them to just veg out. I don't care. People do yoga. I don't know nothing about none of that. I know what video games do for me. And I think everyone should find something, as far as women, we should all find something that makes us feel feminine, makes you feel empowered. I recommend everybody go to the shooting range.
Makes you feel fun. No, I get it.
It makes you feel strong,
My
I
girl's
think
name is Sheila. She has a 9mm with a laser pointer. She's quite feminine.
But so I think at different seasons of your life as a woman, you need different things for self-care.
I was going to ask like something fun that you do, like specific for you. So I know you like games. I know you like gardening. What's it? What else? What else? I can't hear you. Okay.
Call me, let's do lunch.
I would say advice for a young woman that is struggling with her mental health or struggling with just life in general. What advice would you have? Hold on, quick. You want to give advice for a young lady and then go?
Because it's off the top of my head. Nothing is ever so bad that it can't be figured out. Like I've learned, tried to break through barriers this year, mostly financial, that humbled me. And I was like, oh my God, that's the worst thing that could happen, and it happened. And I'm still okay. If anything, I'm like have way more insight and wisdom about the systems that we live in. Nothing is so bad, even if you have to start over, someone breaks up with you, someone breaks your heart. Nothing is so bad. No failure is so bad that it is not going to get better. If anything, that rock bottom is, it looks different. And I don't really like the term rock bottom because it's so associated with like drug use and like losing everything. But it's just nothing is that bad that it will not be figured out. Hormones are it's fun being a woman once you do figure it out. Like, and you can't do that on your own. Like I didn't get a lot of education on who I was and what I could do, but once I found someone through people, and it's not just one person who educated me through experiences like learning how to be a woman, the woman that you want to be. It all works in there.
Okay. Who want to go in? Advice.
My biggest piece of advice would be to ask for help, because we are so independent. We're taught to be independent and strong-minded, but sometimes that very independence can hinder you. I fought asking for help so bad pretty much my whole life until God just kept putting me in positions where I had to ask for somebody's help, some assistance. And I think that was part of the reason I went through all the lifelong knee issues. I needed somebody's help. But what I've found liberating as I've gotten older is I'm not afraid to ask for help. I'm not afraid to do it on my own, but I'm also not afraid to ask for help when I need it, because we all need some help. I think part of our fundamental reason for being here is to help the next person along the journey. But sometimes people don't know you need help because they see you as the strong one, as the independent one, as that girl got it together. I might have it together, but I still need some help sometimes. So don't be afraid to ask for help. Showing your vulnerability is not a weakness. So you have to be able to let people know when you need something, because otherwise they think you all good and you may not be.
Yeah. Like me out here running this nonprofit, feeding people and gathering clothes and wigs and stuff. I can't do it by myself. So now I reach out to my community for assistance, because my husband can't feed all the women that I love and want to serve in the community. You know, he can't do it. And it's
And
selfish
have
of me.
He shouldn't have to.
He shouldn't have to, and it's selfish of me not to ask for help when there are resources
Out there.
in the community that I live in to help women that I serve.
And it gives them an opportunity to serve. It
Right.
gives them the opportunity to serve.
Yes.
And isn't it such a blessing? You're helping, but in your serving, you get blessed and helped too. And it may not be in the form of food or finances or any of that, but you will get abundantly blessed in your serving.
Yeah, because even in that, like me collecting clothing and personal hygiene items for women, I told God I want a new wardrobe because for over 10 years, I waitress. I was a server. So I just wore my black uniform most of the time when I was supposed to because I'm different. But I wanted nice outfits, so when I go out and do speaking engagements to share why I sold community, you know, I wanted to look nice. And I didn't have to pay for any of it. Even with the passing of my Aunt Pam, she has always dressed me. Like I was looking back at pictures from when she did my hair, and I had that little mushroom, the little short salt and pepper, short side, long side. But she has always
Asymmetric.
helped what she said with my.
That's 1994. My brother had that.
It was a long time ago, and she has just always helped me with my fashion, my hair, and so like when she left, I got majority of her stuff because we're the same size, you know, and I look cute in her stuff. Like this is her shirt. This is her skirt. I have on her boots. I wanted to, you know, this is like my Aunt Pam 2.0, but she was always like my niece, my beautiful niece. She did my hair, you know, and growing up, she did my hair. So being able to do that for her, it's just special. Like I miss doing her hair. I miss being in the bathroom rubbing her back when she was going, you know, and she wanted me in there with her. You know, the nurses would come. She'd be like, my niece coming. I know that she loved me. I know that my dad loved me. I know that my grandmother loved me. And God given me the opportunity to be able to serve them, you know, in their time of need when they were going through what, you know, they needed medication, their food, you know, bathing or whatever that looked like. I did it. And I created those memories with them. And so it's just like, it's my time to shine. It's time for me to do it. This event and different things with my show are plans that I made with my Aunt Pam, and still following through and showing up and doing it, even though like she's my angel now. It feels good. Like I'm proud of myself for showing up today and actually following through and doing this, because I know that a lot of people look at me and they think that my life is perfect because I'm still struggling. I'm still overcoming that perfectionism and that controlism and escapism as well. And had I not been consistent in my prayer groups and getting up at 7:30 in the morning and being on that line, you know, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I started with that, I want to say back in 2014 or 15, not too long after my husband was hurt in a hit and run. One of my grandmothers had passed. So now, you know, all three of my grandmothers are gone. One of my grandmothers was murdered. So it's just important for me to speak up, to show up. I know for a fact, at minimum, at least 5 women in my family, sexual assault, right? Myself, sexual assault, abuse, rape. It's important for me to speak up. Last year, I didn't even know there was such thing as chronic anxiety. I just knew about the regular anxiety. And that diagnosis, black and white, it hurt my feelings. It made me scared. It made me fearful. It made me afraid, like, because of the stigma, right? The stuff that comes with putting titles on black women in general, and being open and bold enough, transparent to be able to share that, yes, I was diagnosed with chronic anxiety and depression in 2023 after I lost my aunt, before I lost my uncle, my grandmother, and my dad. HS, a lot of people don't know about that. Like, I'm just trying to figure out ways to find that balance and still show up for me. So it feels good. It feels really, really good. And I'm proud of me.
Do you realize, look all the way back to last year, do you realize, looking at this group, just this group alone, not even counting everybody else, how much impact you've made in our lives and where we are today?
You want me to move over?
Thank you.
You want me to get here? Oh. No, I didn't really think about it because I remember telling you I wasn't confident. I didn't have the confidence last year.
But it's the
I had the
vulnerability.
courage, but I didn't have the confidence, but I still showed up, and I didn't realize the impact that I was making until my mom was like, you inspired me. And I'm like, girl, you inspired me because you lost your mama, your husband, and your sister. Mm-hmm. And you still showing up, and she's still serving in the community, still serving in church, taking on, she did a fashion show, walked in the fashion show for the first time last month. So, sometimes it's hard to talk to my mom because I miss my dad. And it's like, I'm used to like, well, did you talk to your dad today? Or you talked to your mom today? And so sometimes certain things that she say, it triggers me. It makes me emotional. But I know that this was a part of God's plan. And having women in my life that I can have those conversations with when I'm having that tough time, like our 3 Kimberly things, like all 3 of us have lost our dad. Yeah. And it's been helpful to be able to call you and talk to you when I need to, or a text. And I don't know, I'm just rambling now, but I love y'all, and this has been good to me.
I think that as far as advising young women, I think they don't do this. They don't sit down and have conversations. They think everybody's in competition.
Yeah. Wow, that's good.
They think every young woman wants to be the baddest bee or the baddest. What do they say?
I don't know.
What do they say nowadays?
Now
A baddie.
Now it's
A baddie.
Glow. Yeah, Glow.
It's a what?
Yeah, Glow. That's the thing now.
Who?
Yeah, Glow.
Yeah, Glow. Mm-hmm.
What is that?
I got a teenager at home, honey. If I hear that,
See, I've never heard of that.
Well, I mean, everybody wants to be a baddie. Everybody wants to be the. And I'm the same at church that I am when I was riding a motorcycle, that I am when we sitting over chicken in the alpaca. I'm the same. Or at my house, I'm the same. So I'm bad every day.
Mm-hmm. You better.
It doesn't take anything away from me for me to be around women that are richer, smarter, more intelligent, credit. I need people around me with more wisdom, more Holy Ghost, more anointing. I need people. It's not a threat.
Right.
It doesn't take away from my calling. It doesn't take away from my gifting if I surround myself with women that are stronger than me.
Yeah.
I don't have to feel insecure. It doesn't dampen me. It doesn't take away from what God has given me. So young women nowadays think everything is a competition. Find yourself your crew. Find yourself some women that can speak into your life. Find some women that can teach you how to dress, that can teach you how to speak, that can give you opportunity, that can give you a reality check when you stuck on stupid. you better have somebody that you respect that can speak into your life and pull you up, that can say, baby, your slip is showing.
You wrong.
You tripping. You out of order. Go home to your husband.
I think that we've lost that.
We have lost that
It's like
because
20
everybody, you can't tell nobody nothing.
But between social media and some of the other things that people are living their lives, they don't take direction. They don't take wisdom from older women. They see everything as an attack against you. When it's not an attack, it's meant to empower you.
Yeah,
But you got to know who in your circle.
but only teachable women will be able to
Yeah.
take correction. And if you ain't teachable, then and can't nobody tell you nothing, then you stuck, honey.
Yeah.
I'm gonna leave you right there.
And you're going to suffer because of it.
Yeah.
And the other thing that I think is important when you say get in a circle of women that can pour into your life, everybody that's hanging around you, they not for you. You got to be able to use the discernment that God has given you to recognize who should and should not be in your life. Because think about the number of people that something tragic has happened to them when they were doing something with their so-called friends.
I'm a firm believer in I do not want to be a recipient of your judgment that was due to you. You were called to be struck by lightning today, but because I hang with you so tough, when
I got struck too.
I got struck too, and I believe in that now. I'm not. People say don't judge people, but yeah, we're all supposed to use discernment and righteous judgment to decide whether we should be walking with a person or not walk or separate ourselves to be set apart. You got to make a decision now. I ain't supposed to walk with her, and I don't.
Now, I love you to death, but am I going to go to your house and sit on your couch with you? Absolutely not.
And you may not even catch me walking with you in the stove.
I mean, just sit on my couch and me knock y'all. Okay.
They also need to find out what their gift is. What is your gift? Start working on self and what is your purpose on the
Yeah,
earth.
but they just want to be a baddie.
Yeah. Well, they need to learn that it's better to give than to receive.
I really didn't know how bad I was until I was older. I didn't know. I didn't know then that I was bad.
And sometimes wisdom comes with age. I guess another piece of advice I would give a young woman is you don't know everything. Maybe you just dumb. Maybe you just.
I think that's the most valuable piece of anything anybody has said. You don't, and this is something I want people to realize. No matter what age you are, you're gonna get some wisdom and some knowledge. But this is something I tell my people and friends and stuff all the time. It's like the once I realize that I don't know half as much as I think I know, that's when things really started to happen, because you are willing to take advice, willing to listen, willing to learn, willing change your perspective. You're so stuck in what your mama and grandma and them did.
They were wrong too.
Thank you. Hello.
So I think Sarah's the youngest, and you're younger than me a little bit, right?
What?
You age.
Yeah.
But I said that to say I've taken advice from everybody. Everybody that's been
What, you
at the
calling me
table.
old at the table?
I am not saying that you're old. I'm just saying that she and Sarah are younger than I.
Sage.
Okay,
Wise.
because you're like my big sister. Like you're like my auntie. Because okay, so out of the group
So she didn't
of
call me
women,
old twice.
I didn't call you old
Listen.
twice. You know
Some
what?
girls that come to call me auntie one time. I was offended. I think I'm the youngest person at the table.
Okay, so I feel like it's a difference between
I don't care nothing about being old.
Jean and auntie.
I hope you know I don't care nothing about being old.
You more big sister. You more big sister.
I'm grateful to be old.
We don't age. We don't.
But you got a lot of wisdom. Okay, we getting ready to wrap it up. But I was saying that I've been able to take constructive criticism and advice from all the women that have been at this table. You know,
And that's a beautiful
and
thing.
it's helpful, and I'm a little bit over 40, and it's helpful to me in my life because I don't know everything. And we've only been building our relationship for about a year because she was the first one that wanted to be like,
It was a year
"Come
exactly.
outside."
With
Okay.
It was a year exactly. I just met John.
Yeah.
I got a reminder on Facebook that he was helping me do the book release party was May 5th. So
Yeah.
we first started our conversation.
And that was my
A year
first
ago.
speaking
Yeah.
engagement in 2023.
Okay.
And I wasn't ready because it had only been like a couple months since my eye have had. But her voicemail message, she said, "Praise the Lord." It made me feel like my grandma. And I was like, I like her. And so we've been eating chicken ever since and doing events and having that time to be able to talk
Build
about
each other up.
things. Yes, because there's been some things that she shared with me. So I wanted to get your final thoughts on this event, Life Women's History Month, entrepreneurship.
I just think that we should do more of this. I think that women have to be strategic in building each other up, and you have to be strategic in nurturing your circle. And the more women entrepreneurs that you have in your life, the more encouragement that you'll get, the more ideas that you'll get. So I think that this year for my business and what I'm doing for Perfecting Her Craft, it will included in those plans are strategic meetings with women, with like-minded women.
She just said it all. It's like because we have to put a circle of people around us that don't look like us, that don't do the same thing, and some of them may be doing the same thing, but they don't do it in the same way. So to have that input to spur that creativity, because I have all these, I'm not a creative person. I have all these images in my mind about what something, but I'm not the person who can actually institute that. I can tell you my vision. You don't have to bring it to life because what I bring to life don't look like that, what I saw. But this field makes me feel inspired to do it again. Thank you.
Okay, good Lord.
So I agree with what both of these ladies said. I also think that every month is Women's History Month, right? Every month is
Absolutely.
about women. I do believe that women are the foundation. I believe that we have much more work to do to build up our young women as well as older women to help mold the foundation just a little bit more, because we have been the foundation of history, right? And that goes alongside how we pour into our men, which is right where you come into play, how we pour into ourselves. But I mean, we are powerful. We need to remember that the power that we have, and we need to remember that it's the power for good. And starting with youth is the perfect place to begin.
Yep, and to piggyback off of that, it was like, we stand on the shoulders of giants from history, our grandmothers, our great-grandmothers, our great-aunts, our aunties, all of that. But some women today, they're missing that. So I would encourage us, now I don't have any family, I'm a loner. I don't know a whole lot of people. But for when we're getting together, that we invite a young woman who may not have these perspectives.
And you,
Because we have to pour.
and you continue to put energy out that you may not realize that you put out into the environment that is encouraging more women to open up, right? I feel like these are necessary because, again, a lot of us are opening up where we have not been in the past. And the same way a woman can build something, we can also tear it apart.
Right.
So it's important. This is important.
Oh, Lord. Just continue showing up, queens. Show up for yourself. Show up for your business. Show up for your marriage, your community. And this has been great. I will continue showing up for me and my community and my sisters. And I thank you guys for showing up for me. It does mean a lot. And I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
All right. It's a wrap. It's a wrap.
Now, ma'am, you came to be in a dream the other night.